So, I wanted to make a video about Darkane. Because Darkane has always been one of those bands that I've always loved, and I've always went back to listening to their old stuff. So I figured it would be fun to make like a tier list of their album releases. So who are Darkane? Well, they are a Swedish band from Skåne. They are like a melodic tech death metal with thrashy influences, industrial metal band. I don't really know how to classify them. They have a lot of influences, for sure. You would have to put Darkane into their own category of metal. I think there might be some more bands that sound like this, but I haven't really found them throughout the years. The way that they have implemented all of these different types of genres don't feel forced. They are always feeling like they are able to take what is best from one of them and just putting it into the band or their own sound. They never really went super mainstream like some other Swedish band like In Flames and stuff like that. But I think it could be due to their own sound, and I don't think it is easy digestible. But I feel like if more people heard it, they would definitely go even bigger. I've loved them ever since I heard them the first time, and I think the first thing I heard with them was Innocence Gone, that was released in like 2002, because my dad was like a huge metal collector when it came to like CDs and vinyls, and I loved it. I was brought up on it. I just picked this album out when I was young and I listened to it and I loved it. I got to see them live once. I can't remember what year it was. I was really young. I was probably like 14 or something, and I saw them at some local festival or something like that, and they were really good. I really enjoyed it. So I'm not gonna go too deep into who they are, more gonna go for what they have done and put it into a tier list because I think that's a lot of fun. So the first release that they put out was Rusted Angel, that came out in 1999. Just looking at the album, it looks cool. Rusted Angel, I think it sounds like a good album title. Darkane's logo looks badass, and for the music, from the first album that they put out in 1999, it is a perfect blend of everything that I've said before. It has melodic tech death metal. It has, this thrashy sound as well. And they don't feel forced. They feel like they have been doing this for a while and they had like a sound that they wanted to show everyone. Darkane has gone back and forth with a lot of vocals. And the vocalist for this one, I think he only made this album and was out touring for 1 year and then he left. The recording and production of this album, it sounds a little bit live. It doesn't sound like it's super quantified and stuff like that. When you have this sound, it has these negative connotations, for me at least, and it is sloppy drums, but this drummer is amazing. The riffs are so good. They are just like getting stuck in your head. I remember most of the riffs from some of these albums still by heart. They have like catchy choruses. Everything about it is just perfect. I have some favorite tracks from the album. I've listed 3 for most of these albums, and the first I've listed, it's not like I like this one more than number 3. I just put it in the 1 to 3. So the first one I've listed is Convicted. It's the first track on the album, and it comes after this epic intro that they have for the album, and it just hits. Starts off with a bang. The reason why I like this track so much is because it's fast, it's brutal, and I love the pissed off vocals. It's up my alley. The number 2 I've listed is Rusted Angel. It's the title track for the album. It has a lot of different parts to it, and it is world building. Like most of the stuff that Darkane are doing, in at least that from their early stuff, is world building. Like they have a way of writing music that is really, I would say, like cinematic. I really love like the non-cheesy cleans that they have for this track as well. It's just a brutal track with a lot of elements. The third one is A Wisdom's Breed, and you can hear some of it here. It just sounds really cool. Some of the negatives of the album, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I mean, this is the first album that they put out and they went above and beyond with this. Probably put this in an A tier, maybe an S tier, but an A tier for now. The next album that they put out is Insanity. The album title for this one, I think, came from the whole production of the album. I think I read it somewhere, and there was like some files were lost and some other things that were just going on that they just wanted to name it Insanity because it was an insanity to record. And for this album they had a new vocalist, and the vocalist is Andreas Sydov. I think his vocals fits the music and I think it fits the album. I'm not a huge fan of his like mid-range use that he uses mainly, but it's not bad. I wouldn't say that it's bad at all. In this album, I think they tightened their sound a lot more, even if it is just 2 years apart. And with the new vocalist, there is a lot of new range going on with the music as well. It just helps painting the picture that Darkane are trying to paint. And I feel like there is more color to it, and it is just fuller, I would say. What is also fun to see, it is the guest solo from Fredrik Tornedal from Meshuggah. I'm a huge Meshuggah fan, and when you hear this, you know who it is if you know Meshuggah. I mean, the production on the album could be a lot better. I feel like the snare sounds super flat. It's not something I like. So my favorite tracks of the album is third, love the main riff. The second one that I like on this album is Impure Perfection, kind of a funny title. The thrash metal opening on this song, it is something that just puts me in the mood. The third one I put up as one of the tracks I like the most. It is a track I can't really pronounce. Inauspicious Coming. I feel I'm not sure. It is a Genty track, and love me some Gent. I love the melodic death metal vibes of it as well. I also put up a fourth one which I really love, and it's Pile of Hate. Love the title of that one as well. And it's just an amazing track. It is a 10 out of 10. The negatives I have of the album is the vocals are lacking in some parts. Just listening to the track Perverted Beast, just sounds fucking. But then again, like the album as a whole, with just one track that I don't like, it is an A tier for me. The third album that they released,
Expanding Senses,
from 2002, which I think is the first thing I heard with them. The album cover is not my favorite when it comes to Darkane. I hate that they went away from their cool ass logo that they used on the previous ones. But yeah, I mean, better production once more, and even more solidifying their sound as Darkane. Yeah, it's so good. Why you should listen to it is because it is all the things I've talked about before, just perfected. I don't have too much more to say. It's just a perfect album, and I think everyone should just listen to it. My favorite tracks of the album are Imaginary Entity. I love the cleans, I love the genty stuff. The second one is Violence from Within. It's a trashy track. The cleans on the chorus, epic. The genty breakdowns, just so fucking good. Third one I put up is Innocence Gone. It's probably the one track I would show people if I were to try to put them on to Darkane. Going for the negatives about the album, I don't really think I have anything negative to say about this album. I think this is like one of the peak Darkane albums, and it is an S tier. Now for the next album, the fourth album that they put out. It came out in 2005 and it is Layers of Lies. Finally, they went back to having the badass logo, and Layers of Lies sounds like a good album title in my opinion. The album cover is so good. I'm not really sure what the fuck they're trying to convey with it, but do I love it? Yes. For the music for this album, they really didn't put too much new on the table. They basically did what they did before, and they just did it in a good way, I feel like.
Expanding Senses.
That album is just so fucking good, and I think it's hard to top that one. But I feel like they continued on that sound, which is not a bad thing. It feels like a second part to that album. My favorite tracks on the album is Secondary Effect. It's just the vibes of the track and the epic chorus. I feel like it's just so fucking good. The second one is Layers of Lies. Yeah, it's just a catchy song. The catchy fucking chorus. It just goes hard. The third one I put up is Contaminated. Really death metal at some parts, which is my thing. And it is just a perfect track. I love it. And for the negatives, it's the same thing. The drums could sound a lot better. When I say the drums could sound a lot better, I literally just mean the sound. The drumming is perfect. I also have a beef with the vocalists. I feel like they could go a lot lower with the vocals, and I wish they did. I feel like Layers of Lies is an S tier. And now we are at 2008 with Demonic Art. The album cover is kind of lame. At this point in 2008, I grew out of Darkane a little bit. I wanted heavier stuff, and I found deathcore at the time. You know, Suicide Silence released their album around this time, and I think that Whitechapel came out with an album at that time as well, and I was just into that 100%. I dropped almost everything and just listened to that all the time. On this album, Demonic Art, they had a new vocalist, and don't like the vocals. I think it is the lamest type of vocals we can have in metal. It's just boring. For the production on the album, I don't really like it that much. I prefer when they had live, kind of gritty, muddy mix. This sounds a little bit more polished, but kind of in a bad way. It doesn't really fit my perception of what I think Darkane should be. And I feel like they are trying to do what they did before, which is writing catchy riffs and having catchy choruses, but it's just forgettable in my opinion. And I'm not a huge fan of the album for these reasons. I still put up 3 tracks that I like about the album, and the first one is Leaving Existence, second one Demigod, and the third one is Execution 44. So to put it in the tier list, I think it is a C tier, maybe a D tier, but C tier I think fits this album. And I'm not gonna talk about the live album. The live album is... I have nothing positive to say about the live album. And it's not because I don't like live albums. I think that live albums can be good. Like Disaster Piece with Slipknot, I love that album. And the Bloodbath live album, in my opinion, is probably the better ones of anything they released. I think it just works really good, and they were a good live act. But for this one, no. If you want to listen to Darkane live, I think you should go to the concert that they had at Sweden Rock Festival, which is my hometown. I think that sounds better. It's not super good. The vocals are definitely not the best. But yeah, go listen to that one over the live album. The next one on the list is The Sinister Supremacy. I don't like that album title at all. I think it sounds horrible. It came out in 2013 and the album cover is so fucking boring. What is this? I don't want to be too harsh, but I don't like this at all. I think that if this album was put out now, I think everyone would just say like, oh, this is some lazy AI. But this is just, what is this? It has, maybe I don't know what a Sinister Supremacy is. Maybe that's what it is. This album is lazy. I don't like the vocals at all. I can't. It's kind of corny, I feel like. So cheesy can be good, but this is just corny. So yeah, I nothing positive to say about the album, so I'm just gonna put this in the D tier. The next one on the list came out in 2022, and it is Inhumane Spirits. Better title, well done. And the album cover is really cool. I mean, it literally is an inhumane spirit in the album cover, at least. So we're moving up, we're building ourselves up again. And finally, we have some better vocals. They're still pretty lame, but still so much better. And it is the first time in Darkane's history that they have good lows. The album has more death metal elements to it, and the riffs are better. It's more nuanced from the previous album. I just feel like they were more inspired for some reason. The production is good. I don't have too much negative to say about this, but it's not the best. I feel like they already released the best stuff. But yeah, my favorite tracks of the album is Conspiracies of Flesh. It is kind of a bad name in my opinion, but the track is good and it has a genty like main riff. The second one is Inhaling Mental Chaos. What are we talking about? I love the melodic death metal vibes of the track. It's just up my alley. The third one I put up is Quintessence of Evil. Not really sure what that means, but that's just my bad English. But it is a cool track. I'm happy about the track. For the negatives, yeah, I still have some beef with the vocals. I think that the vocals could be better, like almost always with this band. Nothing too much more to say about this. I feel like it is a good album. It's not better than the earlier stuff, but when I heard this, I was so happy to see that Darkane was coming back, that they were actually doing some cool ass stuff again. And for me, it is a B tier, and I'm hoping that they're putting out another album that is just gonna exceed this stuff. But yes, that's my tier list of Darkane. I feel like more people should just I feel like more people should just listen to Darkane and see what the fuck they are on about. But all in all, thank you for watching. You can just make your own list, and I hope that at least one person watches this and goes and listen to Darkane and give them some love, because they really do deserve it. But yeah, thank you.